and bundles. All right, captains. It's week 3. It's Christmas week. As the time of this recording, the banner for Foca Expo has already been up for 2 days so far. So rotation 1's almost about to be done, right? Rotation 1 has 1 day and 1 hour left at the time of this recording. But you can double check all the banners, datas for the current Foca Expo for global here in the news tab. All right. 7.2 beta signups are up. I'll have to check on Content Creator Discord. Hopefully I didn't miss the deadline. But if you're interested in beta testing and checking out the new version, you can give this a shot. Gifts from the Stars. This is a 7-day login event for global, where we get our anniversary rewards for next year. It'll be in under bonuses, I think. No. Was it under, was it just under... Oh, here. Winter treasure chest. So yeah, crystal options. As usual, the reminder is that for these crystal options, the best would just be to get the tickets. You only get the crystals if you are planning on saving it. Oh wow, these look a little bit nerfed compared to usual. I guess since they're spreading it out is why they nerfed it. The big ones are here. So the big ones, you want to go for supply cards. The only reason you want to go for crystals is 1, you're saving it for an outfit. 2, you want to use it on an elf. Those would be the only 2 situations where you're really going for crystals instead of the cards. Cards actually gives you more crystal value. So like in my case, I would probably say expansion supply card. So if those of you that are trying to get like double S Garuda or go far in that banner anyways, you know, like if you're trying to get 110 to get the option boxes. With these material boxes, it's pretty much like you pick what you need, but generally Einstein's Taurus and sometimes ether fuel, sometimes spatial convectron. Those would be your high value stuff, and sometimes SC metals. But usually the priority would go like Taurus, metal, fuel, and convectrons. Sometimes phase shifters if you're like you just haven't been grinding everything else and you're behind on materials. But phase shifters and stuff can be bought with asterite, right? Anything that can be bought with asterite, you can farm over time. The biggest thing of concern is Taurus, because that just, it's time gated, or you're, you know, salvaging weapon dupes, which in the future you probably will want to keep your weapon dupes. So Taurus generally is what I would recommend from these, but what I usually do is with these splendid gift boxes, I'll just sit on them until I actually need something from them. So these mini crystal option boxes, you can see here, crystals is 240, but a card is worth 280. So in this case, yeah, I would probably also recommend going expansion supply card if you're interested in, you know, battle suits, and then the focus supply card if you're trying to save up for gear. So 1, 2, 3, 5. So 5 free pulls here, and then we have like 2 option boxes here, right? So that's like a total of 3 effective option boxes. And then, you know, this is still ongoing. So let's go take a look at some of the new bundles here. The 2024 Celebration gift box is like, this is okay if you're like a returning collection player and you just want to have one of these Valkyries. Is it worth spending it? Well, we're gonna get a free Hersher of Sentience this patch, so I probably would say if you're a casual player, don't get Hersher of Sentience. Jade Knight is probably the most like modern meta pick in terms of like if you're a returning player, because if you're gonna get a free Hersher of Sentience, you might as well get a free, or you know, if you're gonna spend money, go for Jade Knight. Daeon Korra, you know, I get it if you're an enthusiast and you like this particular character or this particular character. That's fine, but Jade Knight is probably the most like effective pick if you're spending money on this. Whether or not you decide you want to buy this bundle to get rank up stamps is up to you. Generally, at this point, I would say that it's not worth it for the money, unless you really like that character and you are in my position, right? For example, right, I am 5 stamps away from Triple S Day Ankora. I could slow farm it from the Witch Orb shop with gold Witch Orbs, which will take me a long time, or I could just buy this bundle, you know. If you're able to brute force things like this, then yeah, sure, you know. If you value time over money and you have a lot of money but not a lot of time, maybe, right? That's gonna be subjective. But in general, this is pretty skippable. Jade Knight is farmable. Jade Knight is farmable, so if you're patient enough, you don't really need this. Nyx will eventually probably become acquirable through normal means. You know, Day Ankora will probably be acquirable through normal means in the future. This is basically, again, like, you either really like one of these characters, you have a lot of money and you're trying to jumpstart your account, or 3, you just want to go for rank ups. Alright, next item, the 2024 special gift box. This is a complete scam. Do not spend money on this. At first you think, oh, weapon box. Oh, stigmata box. But you don't get to choose. These are not selectors. These are pure random. It's a complete waste of money. Like, if they said you also get 30-20 crystals with it, maybe. But this is a complete scam. Don't even mess with this, alright? This is so bad. If you're gonna spend like 3,020 B chips, it better be a combination of this bundle and this bundle. Yeah. Hey, Flare Soul. Generally the daily value bundles are okay. Generally it'll be like 1-for-1 crystal to B chips plus some extras. So like these are kind of okay-ish. Would I recommend these? Not really. But they're also low cost. So like if you have if you like the micro and microtransactions, these are like just barely breaking even. But what you really would want to is stuff where you're getting more crystal value for less B chips, which would usually be these, right? So you can see here, these were the ones from the start of the patch. But now we also have these for global. I don't know if SCA gets these, but for global, these are some new bundles for us. And I think these probably have like do these have like a second tier on them? I don't know. I'll probably pick up a couple of these over the next couple days. Maybe I'll get a bunch of the 10 expansion ticket ones, since I need expansion tickets for Garuda. But yeah, generally speaking though, your best value is gonna be your weekly supply card and your monthly. So weekly is better than monthly, but both of these together is better than every other bundle in the shop. So if you're like just a BP monthly card usual buyer and you're like, I want to take advantage of this top-up event, these 2 bundles is where I would start after you use your first time total top-up. So first time top-up bonus every year came up in those recent news posts. Nefer told me that proposal was already struck down because it caused major stock drops in China. So I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, if you do have a first time bonus, that's like, you know, it's in terms of in-game currency, it's pretty decent for the money, right? Relative to everything else that's on offer. But after your first time top up, I would look at the cyclic bundle, which is your weekly and your monthly. And then after that, I would look at your event special for tickets. Anything tickets for B chips that comes with crystals. SP supply cards are generally are worth 120, right? Because a pull on an SP character is 120 crystals. So SP supply card is worth 120 per card. And then elf is worth 150. So you can do the math. I'm sure there's like a spreadsheet out there that has the math done for you too. But usually what ends up happening is, like, if you're free to play or you're low budget, well, if you're free to play, you would be looking at the shop, right? But if you're low budget and you're considering spending a little bit more, stacking up on SP supply cards doesn't make as much sense because the pity count and the crystal required to get one card is very low to begin with. And the characters are farmable, right? So it only really affects your first week. Like my cosmic expression is already double S. And we did maybe only 40 pulls, and those 40 pulls was like maybe 20 normal pulls, right? Something to that effect. You can definitely avoid SP card stuff. This is more for high dolphin to Kraken territory as far as stocking up on SP supply cards, because they're the ones that are going to be on day one of a new patch for an SP release. They're the ones that are going to be rushing to at least double S. So it makes sense for that class of player to buy these bundles. Now, elf bundles are decent if you're trying to either prep for a spending event, or like right now, I would say in my position, if I wanted to get Project Bunny, 3-star, I would probably top up for these elf supply cards so that I can take advantage of the bonuses from the top up event, and then I don't dip into my crystal savings. That's something that I could consider, right? And then of course, stocking up on expansion tickets for next patch is also good. Or I get tempted to try to pull S2 Rebirth. I'm probably not gonna pull anything, but those options exist, right? Depends on what your goals are, what your budget is, and what you want to be your limiting factor, right? People have lives, and our goals and mentality towards the game changes over time. The game itself has changed over time, and then our interest in the game will fluctuate, so that can also affect whether or not you want to continue spending money on this game. Nope, we don't get those on SCA, just the 2 expansion packs. So SCA only has the ones that are expiring in 5 days, basically. So everything that's refreshed for Christmas is global only. So depends on your spending level, right? All right, let's take a look at the events. We talked about the 7-day login. We talked about this. So it looks like a lot of this is just completion, and it does look like there is one daily thing, but most of it is completion. And that's where you're gonna get your points build up to get all the stuff. It looks like at the end it's just an option box, so as far as maintaining crystal, all the important stuff you can get pretty early on, which is your 2 crystal option boxes. Everything else is farmable, so like all the other option boxes is just kind of like cherry on top. And it looks like the duration is going to be till the end of the patch, so you have time. Chapter 42 is out. Even part 2 is out, so I'm a bit behind. I didn't play part 1 yet, so I'll probably do that this weekend when I get off work tomorrow or today. Cool collectible stigmata, crystals, of course. I'm told that there isn't a daily for the event, for the story event, so that's nice. For the voting, end of the year voting, make sure you share this I guess we could watch it. Let me make sure the volume is turned down a little bit. Yeah, there isn't any daily. Wow. All stories eventually come to an end, but the memories they leave and the feelings they convey do not disappear. Yeah, true. Oh, that's cute. Let's see who won. It has to be graduation trip, right? Yeah, of course. Of course it's graduation trip. It has to be this one, come on. Oh, the I-chan cosplaying. That's so funny, I-chan's cosplaying. La la la! I voted for Hersher of Truth. I voted for Hersher of Truth. Obviously you voted for Celia, of course. Really? Susanna won? Oh, this is the second set. I think from the second set I voted for Susanna. Wait, were we voting for the trailer or the individual battlesuit? Really? Jade Knight? Oh, no, this is the third set. So this would have been the end of last year. Basically, they count it from the anniversary, the SCA-CN anniversary from last year. I think I voted Luna on the second set, or on the third set. Yeah. So Finality won first set. Really? Serious? I mean, I guess I'm not surprised. Yeah, in the end, I'm not surprised. I voted Bronya just because I felt like Bronya was the only one of the trio that transcended the trio, right? I voted for Susanna because she was just broken in the meta. Yo, can we get that outfit? Can we get that outfit for her? Oh, hell no. Diablo Kevin. Who did I vote for? I don't even remember. I think I voted for the Vita boss. I think I thought the Vita fight was probably the most interesting. Oh, Kevin won. I hated that fight because every time I wanted to do the full rotation with the trio, Kevin would just either phase change or he would just completely like enter into an iframe. Okay, for this one, I definitely voted for Susang for Jade Knight. I felt like all the others are, you know, were nowhere near as cool as Jade Knights. Oh, I definitely voted for Hersher of Truth here. The joint ult is like, it's so overplayed for me. I do like these other ones. Didn't mind the Kevin fight. I mean, it wasn't that bad, all other parts aside, but it's like we have the trio team and they don't let you play the trio team. I think I picked Dreamweaver for this one. Okay, yeah, so Sushang won. Raiden, oh, the joint alt one for number 2. Of course, the Raiden Mei fans are just too powerful. I kind of wish some of these would just be like permanent game modes that you could just like revisit. Like that's the thing, like if Honkai 3rd wasn't game as a live service and they could have a permanent archive of the mini events, I think that could have been really cool. Oh, I definitely picked the rhythm game. I didn't like the card game as much, but I definitely picked the rhythm game. For this set, anyways. Oh, I picked this one. Build your career with Fuhua. The Seele one was good too. I like the Seele one because it was very chill. Oh, this one. The music. Dun 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 dun. Really? People liked the... I didn't like that one at all. For the map. Oh yeah, Seele win. Congrats. You know, I still haven't watched Golden Courtyard. Oh, people definitely are picking Graduation Trip. Come on, come on, it has to be. It has to be that one. Oh, come on. The capo is... that one's too easy, but come on, come on. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, part 1 ending was too strong this year. Alright, all that to say, make sure you hit the share button and get 15 crystals, okay? You get 15 crystals if you share the voting results video. Part 3, don't forget to finish part 3 here. I still have to do 2 more dailies. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind, but you know, it's there. Top-up event is still going on till the end of the patch. Yeah, don't forget to play all the stuff. Play part 3, chapter 3 of Starry Voyage. Play this, play that, play it all. Get your free HOS. Ooh. You don't even have to watch the whole video for the tutorial here. Just click on this. But the tutorial videos have been pretty good lately. So that's a little bit of free stuff. So make sure you finish the tutorial on Cosmic Expression. It's like, what, 5 days left? It ends on upcoming Friday. Reset. So make sure you do that. Let's go take a look at the supplies. So the outfit is still here for another 5 days. As of the time of this recording. Foca Expo is up. Now remember, you get... this will be back... I'm bouncing back and forth a lot. The full schedule will be posted here. You can see the different rotation schedules. And I'll kind of just do my best to try to go over what's good to pick from those. Usual stuff applies, right? There's gonna be like the meta pick. You know, if you really like a character, they're safe to roll on. The one nice thing right now with Foca Expo is that for your gear, you can see what all the off rates are, and you can pick that one to become the up rate, right? So in this pool, Rebirth is definitely the most recent, even though these were all so Hersher of Origin was also earlier this year. But Rebirth is definitely the most meta out of all 3 of these. Equinox was last year's Spring Festival of Valkyrie. And in order to play Equinox, you basically need to have Rebirth. Effectively, right? Yeah, S2 Rebirth is really tempting. S2 Rebirth is really tempting. All the A ranks is just for collection at this point. They're reworking the Battlesuit Fragment system, but if you're a new player, getting the A ranks isn't necessarily a bad thing because you're building your dorm squad for both permanent buffs, but also your ability to do expeditions from the dorm. So don't be upset that you're getting A ranks, all right? But yeah, so these are the A ranks are mostly for collection. The Luna Kindred is in Elysian Realm, so you know, getting Luna Kindred, you can farm some crystals and stuff that way. Expa will share pity count with your regular expansion. S2. Nephris voting for me to pull for S2. We definitely could. And then gear wise, so I already have the gear, but if you need the gear, definitely get Rebirth's gear if you can. Get her weapon if nothing else. Hard to control, sure. In order of importance, definitely Rebirth gear. 2 and 3 are conditional on whether you own those battle suits or not. Of course, the Stigmata you can use as placeholders on the same element type to varying effects. Mileage may vary. Bastet is decent for ice support, but it's a bit outdated. It's a last year's model, but the Chakram is still nice as an all-rounder, you know, like placeholder Chakram for Chakram users. Kalodi and Tower of the Past, as much as I want to finish the set, I don't recommend it for anybody. I think for most new players, Fire set, you can just farm G4 or, you know, farm G2 even. G2 Fire actually goes a long way. But if you're a Vilvi enjoyer and you say, I want to have a fully built Vilvi, then maybe. Only then. The other condition is if you just want to brute force the banner and just get everything, right? But if you are pulling on this banner, just try to get Rebirth's full set. If you already have everything, then what are you doing? You know, like, what are you doing? Go for rank ups if you're gonna plan to pull if you already have all the gear. Chances are, if you already have everything, you're not watching this video, or if you know, you don't need to be watching this video. That being said, all that said, this is mainly for collectors, right? This is mainly for collectors who've been waiting for reruns, because if you're not collecting and you really want to just catch up on meta, pulling new stuff is good. Pulling Rebirth is good, right? Pulling Rebirth for physical teams is good, but you could also be like, you could just ignore physical teams and just save for the next patch or save for part 2. I think saving for part 2 makes sense, especially if you're a newer player and you already missed out on the last, 2, 3, 4 years of meta Honkai, which is fine. We had our fun, and then eventually the meta shifts, and then we have to adapt. In this case, for newer players, I think saving for part 2 to have a stronger position in part 2 would be nice, but I think some of this stuff will still, carry over. Not all of it though, for sure. Outfit we covered before. Earliest you can get the outfit is on the 5th pull. The option box is kind of whack this time around because all of them are farmable. And they're all really old meta. I enjoyed playing these characters though at various points in the last 4 years. Part 2 slowly immigrate to new meta. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. Like, part 2 will eventually evolve Honkai into a completely different game, right? More in line with Star Rail and Genshin. In that trend, maybe they'll retain some of the competitive aspects to try to hang on to some of the hardcore players. They might not, Quite a few players have already retired from the game in anticipation for the changes. Elf rotation. This is also something that you may consider rolling on if you like collecting, right? If you're collecting, getting 2 stars is fine. If you're trying to build for meta, Project Bunny at 3 stars is definitely great because it's the most recent elf. I personally wouldn't mind having a 3-star bunny, but I also don't know that I need to be spending the crystals because I'm trying to wind down my competitive side. Yeah. Yeah. So the caveat on 3-star is that 3-star definitely provides like a lot of good buffs. But the starting SP is definitely, as Never points out, like the starting SP is definitely the strongest aspect of 3-star Project Bunny. Now, that being said, certain fights that have a really long like setup time at the beginning of the fight mitigates that requirement quite a bit, right? Flying Fish, for example, that stupid opening phase takes so long. There was a couple of other Abyss fights where like you can kind of just wait it out, even though like it's not pleasant to do so. You can, right? It's not pleasant, but you can. And then of course dorm supply. I am still sitting on my dorm tickets for the next spending event, which would be 7.3. That's the plan. Yep, that's the plan. Okay. Anything else to really go over? Make sure you play the chapter, Make sure you play the chapter. Lift the curtains. Please enjoy the climax of the show. Yeah, so here we go. 42. 42. Wow, that's a lot of stages. 9 stages for part 1 and another 10 for part 2. Yeah. I gotta make sure I schedule this well so I don't fall too far behind. Aren't they changing frags to something else for dorm supply in part 2? Yes. They're changing battlesuit fragments. Well, they're getting rid of fragment system entirely, it seems like. Right? Or they're getting rid of fragments from supplies. You can still farm fragments from expeditions and stuff. What they're doing is that they're gonna make it so like once you get to triple S, you no longer get battle suit fragments from supplies. You get something. You get a different currency, which is like 1 to 9 with the old battlesuit fragments. That the shop is effectively the same, but I think they're changing it to try to get away from a fragment system per se. It's not as visual novel though. Yeah, I'm glad it's not as visual novel, but I've seen some other players in our Discord lament that like there's too much filler combat. But you know, like this at the end of the game, this is a ARPG, right? This game is not marketed as a visual novel. Even though it has visual novel elements, it's still an ARPG first, with visual novel elements second. So is the conversion worth it? That is the question. I mean, once the conversion happens, it's gonna be, we're not gonna have old battlesuit fragments anymore, so it won't matter. Yeah. I'd rather have those filler combats than reading through an essay. I agree. I like the early Honkai formula, which was talk at the beginning, let's beat up some bad guys, talk at the end, you know, next chapter. Talk at the beginning, let's do some fighting. Maybe we fight a special enemy. Talk at the end, you know.
站在这儿发呆有什么意思？不如和我来场对战训练，怎么样？
Anyways, that pretty much concludes this week's banner review. It's kind of always been rough the last 2-3 years with Global getting the Foca Expo on Christmas instead of like, you know, on the major spending events when they normally happen. Especially the fall major spending event where like CN and SCA get their Foca Expo to line up with the spending event. You know, it's a great time for players to utilize all their saved up crystals to get like all the rerun characters while they're still relevant, etc. You know, getting Rebirth now doesn't feel as good as getting Rebirth on a rerun back in, you know, 7.0. Or, you know, even though I felt like 7.0 with Luna was quite good. Or was that 6.9? 7.0, right? Yeah, it was 7.0. Was it 7.0? I've already forgotten. Man, I'm getting mixed up. I'm getting old. Yeah, it was 7.0. Because this was the big spending. Maybe I should have pulled Elf. Oh, but we didn't have Elf banner on global last patch. See? See? If we had Elf banner, I would have pulled back then. But now it's like, well, now I don't feel like pulling for Elf anymore. Anyways, captains, good luck saving for 7.2 and saving for part 2 in 7.3. You know, figure out what you want to do with this game. Maybe some of y'all are like, I'm just gonna go free to play now. Some of y'all might be like Nil Hisri and be like, I'm retired. See ya. Have fun. Some of y'all might be like Unreal Dreamer, trying to catch up on like, you know, 4 or 5 chapters ago. I saw Unreal on his subathon. He was playing through chapter 36. So, you know, maybe some of y'all are on break and you're coming back and you're like, maybe I'm a little bit interested in part 2, see what it brings to the game. You know, just take your time and figure out what you want from the game, what the game can provide you as an entertainment experience, and don't overthink it. And yeah, hopefully you get some good insights from this video. Well, before we close, let's just take a look at what else is on the schedule here. So from rotation 1, Rebirth is definitely the top pick. From rotation 2, I personally lean towards Truth, although I know there's a lot of players that are really heavy stands of Elysia, and maybe they're trying to like over time get Elysia to triple S. I understand. That's reasonable. And then from the third rotation, Jade Knight is like, you would only pull Jade Knight if you're trying to really rush catch up on ice, but she's farmable, right? Dreamweaver was relative to the last 2 years probably the most free to play friendly in terms of like the summer S rank. So she's really decent at S0. And then some of y'all might be wanting Kiana because she's the poster child of the game. And finality is like the key, right? She's like the key of the trio team. So maybe some of y'all that missed out on the trio team, you know, you have a shot to get the trio team here, even though I wouldn't say it's cost effective anymore for the top end, but if you're trying to complete it for completion's sake, or like, you know, these are some of your favorite characters because they're the main characters of Honkai, I think that's reasonable. As long as you're not concerned about like cost to performance ratio for, you know, meta gameplay. S2 is excellent on all three. Double S is excellent on all three of the trio for Truth, Origin, and Finality. I would definitely say though, like at this point, if you're not trying to like spend money to giga hyper competitive catch up, like I probably wouldn't go past S2 if you are going for dupes. And S0, like, you'll struggle on certain fights, but like you'll still clear content just fine. If you don't care about rankings and leaderboards. But so yeah, so rotation 1, Rebirth. Rotation 2, in my opinion, you should go with Truth. Rotation 3, you know, you can skip entirely. I personally would lean towards Dreamweaver if you already have Rebirth. Dreamweaver with HOS, like if you run with the free HOS, this patch is not bad either. It's a little bit old school and it's not comfortable if you find yourself like crit malding, because you do have to roll for crits with HOS, but it's fine for like Red Lotus and below, especially with like Prometheus supports. And then the rotations will rerun one more time, right? Right around New Year's, and then going into January. So maybe you pull down the pity counter on Rebirth, but you didn't have enough. So then you wait the next 2 cycles, and then Rebirth comes back, and now you have a few more pulls, and then you get Rebirth here. Or the same situation might happen for rotation 2 or 3, depending on where you're at. And that's if you're really like scraping the barrel for crystals. Foca Select. So Pool 1, we talked about Pool 1. Pool 2 and 3 will probably go over at the end of the week, right? Because at the end of the week will be the... what'll it be? Oh, at the end of the week it'll actually loop. So Pool 2, Elysia and Astra are probably the most useful in terms of gear. Key of Ego is alright. Key of Ascension and full set Bronya's A-check if you have Hersher of Truth for sure. Absolutely, at least get the weapon for HTR. But in terms of like generic most useful, probably Astra and Cezanne. Like everything else apart from Key of Ascension is like moderately old. So those are the things to consider, right? Like Key of Ascension and Elysia and Astra with Cezanne, Key of with Bronya's HX Stigs. Those would be your, you know, 1 and 2. And then rotation 3, Key of Anonymity, Prophetic Dreams, Nocturnal Stealth, Echoes of Paradise, Basilisk's Image. I would probably say Nocturnal Stealth and Sushang for ice teams is something that, like, I feel like this is definitely a noticeable gap. If you have Sushang and you've been playing without her signature gear, getting her signature gear, you'll definitely feel it. Now, gearing up finality is kind of a no-brainer if you have finality without gear. Getting a Ponia... Wait, this is the Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver only really needs her spear, but having full set definitely helps for the summon entity weather, but that weather also only comes around, like, very rarely, right? Like, once every... maybe 2 patches. Once every 2 or 3 patches-ish. On the non-summon entity fights, she does okay with alternative physical gear as long as you have her weapon. Echoes of Paradise is great for team support for pistol users. Handle is craftable, so I don't know. I feel like Echoes of Paradise, the game has been putting this weapon in a lot of off rates this past year. You know, we've had a lot of option boxes that give Echoes of Paradise, so trying to go for Echoes of Paradise like as a targeted focus supply feels not that good right now. I would definitely say from this one, probably Key of Anonymity, Prophetic Dreams, and maybe Nocturnal Stealth, like, so the top 3. Basilisk's Image with Linnaeus, probably not as good now, since we're basically 2 years out from Mobius's release now. 2 years? 1 year. 2 years. Yeah, we're 2 years out now. Sheesh. Man, I remember when Mobius was just about to release. Oh, man. Time has definitely gone by super fast. Looking at some of this stuff, it's like, I remember when this was new. So, if you're not sure what to roll on, just save. We got plenty of really good stuff coming up in the next 2 patches in 7.2 and 7.3. So if you're not sure, saving is a good strategy. Yeah, just save. Grandma Mobius, true. So true. Yeah, so that about covers it. I know we rambled on a bit more than with the previous endpoint. I've already probably tried to end the video like 2 or 3 times now. Anyways, let me set the stream marker and I'll take another short break and we'll get into the Abyss because I need to do Abyss and stuff before I go to work. I also have to do MA. Sheesh. Alright, captains. Good luck saving. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas if you're celebrating. And then probably I'll see you next time. It'll be like a couple days before New Year. Unless you're watching my daily streams, in which case I'll see you right now.